That was spirit, people. That was spirit. That was pure spirit because I just mentioned him, and I'm gonna upload a video because I did a video so that I can show you like what was happening. Whoever was watching the live from the beginning, I didn't publish the last live, but if you was watching the live that I just was doing, um, you'll see that I was talking. Everything was like going regular. I mentioned his name, Dave Tony, and his music just started coming through my phone. And I was looking initially like, where the fuck is coming from? Where's it coming from? Because I ain't pressed that, and I wanted to see if another device was over here that just started randomly doing stuff, but it wasn't. It was spirit. Um, and I was talking about love, and I was saying that love is the way. The love is the way, and I was explaining how this month is a special month because my birth mother passed on in 2005, yesterday, well, February 1st, 2005. She passed on, and I was going through where I was 25 years ago in this month, scared 15-year-old with a big old belly. And I was just reminiscing and talking about love and talking about how me and Dave Tony, how we are brother and sister and we are blood relatives, but explaining exactly how we're blood relatives. And it is because um, my birth mother and his birth dad are brothers and sisters, and both of them dropped us off at other relatives' house, and the other relatives congregated with each other often in the Jehovah Witness religion, and that's how we grew up. And I was making jokes. You'll see it because it's going to be published, but I'm gonna publish it all. I'm gonna publish it all. It's a Super T podcast show. I'm all about the love. I'm all about the light, but I'm completely about the transparency with myself. And see, here's the thing. Here's something that I I'm searching for the right words. I'm just gonna put it how it's coming through me. Ain't no games happening in my life. I am very specific and very intentional. And when I sense any type of game, I am X factoring, removing myself from the situation. Now, in my thing that I just talked about, where I was like, I was talking about a cousin, and I got over there because I was talking about my lineage. So that's how I got to that road, right? I was talking about my lineage, explaining my birth mother, and explaining how me and Dave Tony are blood relatives, and how we are brother and sister because we grew up together, but not by the traditional methods. Um, but definitely blood relatives and close blood relatives. That's why we look so goddamn similar. He's just a chocolate version. So ironic. He actually looks a lot like our granddad, and I carry a lot of my grandma's features. It's a little spooky sometimes. But we do have the same grandparents, obviously, since his father and my mother, his birth father, are brother and sister. They got the same. They got the same mom and dad. So I was talking about that, and I got into the subject of my dad, and I was just like, yeah, I don't know who that is. And then I went down a little bit further down the rabbit hole, and I was like, but a supposed cousin, because I was told that somebody is, and I even attempted to pay for a paternity test, and his wife refused, even though she acted like she was with it at first. She ultimately refused to do it, even though I paid for it, and they didn't even have to see me. They live in a whole different state. He could have came, did the test, and I did do the test. I did go and get my cheeks swabbed and everything. And I was waiting for her. I'm like, okay, you're all the way in North Carolina. Like, what's the deal? What's the deal? But she started talking shit. And when she started talking shit, it was it. Like, I held it together for one bit. And then I didn't lose it. I just let her know, bitch, what the fuck is you talking about? What is you talking about? Take the test. I don't have to look like him for him to be my goddamn biological father. You don't have to pay nothing for the test. Just go. I paid for it already. That shit was $500. I paid for it. Just go. Go in your state. You go right down there in North Carolina somewhere. Go take the damn test. She started talking shit about my mom because I look like my mother. And she didn't appreciate the fact because she was fucking him while my mother was fucking him. And she thinks she caught something, but really he beat the bricks out of her like he was beating the bricks out of my mother. And probably the reason why she couldn't have any natural children of her own. So she never got over that resentment. She thought just having the... You could curse on YouTube, right? Because it's not for children. She thought just having a dick got her something, and she just been with that dick for over 40-something years, and possibly they have grown, and they have matured, and they have become better people, but that's how it all started. And according to the reputation she has and the reputation he has, they weren't nice, cool people, you know? They weren't. So that's what that is. I went down that rabbit hole. And of course, you know, when you go down a certain rabbit hole and get on a different vibration, other shit comes up. So, again, if this is your first time seeing me at live today, then you don't know the whole content of where I'm about to go right now. But I'm about to go there because I feel like I have been very fair. I've been very fair. Here's the thing. Anything, I don't care what it is, it requires action. It requires work, right? And I feel that I communicate clearly. Like, I speak good English. There are maybe some things I could sharpen up on, but I'm juggling a lot as one person, right? And it's just what it is, you know? And so I made a decision that this right here, this thing that I have worked on for years, by myself for years, that I was just like, you know what? Let me open it up. Let me open it up, and here's some good ideas that came to me. But see, what I realized with Spirit sometimes the ideas are just for you. Sometimes the ideas are just for me, right? So I was like, okay, cool. I didn't even know that I can do what I'm doing right now because these rules changed. Initially, you had to have like 1,000 followers before you could go live. I don't know when the rules changed that you could go live, but all I know, I was playing around on YouTube and I was like, okay, there's a podcast section. Now my podcast, the Super T podcast, if you search it, put it in Google, you gonna find out that the Super T podcast is on all of the platforms. It's on iApple, it's on Spotify. Those are the ones I could think of. It's on Google Podcasts. It's on all of the platforms. You will find this podcast show on all of the platforms because I have been doing it for years. I've been lifing too. Life takes a priority, family takes a priority. So if something's going on with my family that requires more of my attention, that's what's going to get my attention. But everything's good, everything's stable, everything's safe, everything's secure. I'm grateful. It's unfolding. Everybody's doing great and wonderful. I am astounding. It's been work though, okay? It's been work. It's been work. And all that work is for something. All that work is for something. So, I'm playing around on YouTube. I realized, oh, I could go live. Oh, nice, awesome. Oh, see my little stuff? You know, I've been had this stuff. I got this stuff back during the pandemic, right? During the pandemic, I had some savings. I opened a cafe in Montclair, New Jersey. Like, I didn't just sit on my money. Kind of wish I kind of would have sat on my money. But the lessons that I learned through opening up a store, through buying equipment, because the equipment I still have, I think they were priceless. I think because my business still is a business, even though it's not operating and it's currently in litigating. That's a whole nother thing, and I ain't on here to talk about my cafe, but it's in a good spot. You know, when it all boils down, first of all, cafes, restaurants, when they open, it takes about 5 years before you see a profit anyway. So I opened it during the pandemic 2021. It is still, hi Island. Thank you. Those are these are Ray J's. You know Ray J Brandy brother? Those are Ray J's headphones. I've always been a Brandy fan, by the way. And I was doing working in Midtown, and I always saw him. And the block that I worked on, you can't tell me he didn't live there or have something, a condo there or something, because he was like there every day. And it was like, oh, it's because he got his headphones in that store right there and his scooters and stuff. So kudos to Ray J. Hope him and his family doing good. I never spoke to him because during that time I wasn't confident enough. That's just the honest truth. I just wasn't confident to see one of my idol's brothers and talk to them. I didn't think I was good enough because I was on 27th Street, 27th between Broadway and Fifth Avenue. It's a little store right across the street from, I forgot the name of that bar, but on the side of Starbucks. So 27th Street in Manhattan it's like what do you call that store? He wasn't there with me. I'm looking at my son. It's like a digital store. They got headphones, they got speakers, they got all of that stuff in there. I don't know the name of the store, I'm sorry, but I know the street, 27th Street in Manhattan, between 6th Avenue and Broadway. It's a Starbucks on the corner of 6th Avenue and 27th. It's on that same street, on that same side.
Electronics and accessories.
It's not the name of the store. Electronics accessories. Anyway, let's get to the tea, because I'm getting to the tea, baby. I'm getting to the tea. So, sometimes when things come through spirit, it is just for you, right? So I'm playing on here. I realized I could go live, and because me, being me, that's grease in there. Because he thought it was potato chips in the Pringle. He just looked at this shit right here. He looked inside like, the fuck is something there? Grease, dude. Grease, my dude. The chips are gone. So anyway, can't see his face. By the way, those pancakes looked great.
They were amazing.
Anyway, so I was explaining. Let's go back. I'm gonna back it up a little bit. Rewind, right? So that's how I got down the rabbit hole of talking about like my dad, and like switched up my vibration a little bit. It's still love. It is still love, but it's just a different type of love we're gonna get into right now, right? We're gonna get a little bit into tough love, right? And this is my own tough love. This is tough love on me, because I am always self-evaluating and always looking at the choices that I make. It's always like I can make a choice quick, but I'm going to evaluate that choice and make sure that the choice that I made is the right choice. And just me talking, right? I don't know if you were here for the last live, because I didn't publish it. So if you weren't here for the last live, which just was like maybe 15 minutes ago, the reason why I stopped that live, because as I was talking about my brother, Dave Tony, his music started playing out of nowhere. And I was looking around trying to see like what made this come. And my son had to tell me, it's coming from your phone. I'm like, I didn't press nothing. Like, you could literally see my hands in the first live. And so I was like, that's weird. But I kept on talking because on my end, the music sounded low. But I guess to you guys, it sounded loud. And so somebody brought to my attention that the music was too loud, that you couldn't hear me. So once I realized, oh, you couldn't hear me, let me stop it. So I stopped it, and the music was still playing through my phone. I'm using my phone, by the way, to do this live. So the music was still playing through my phone, and I was just like, oh, spirit is just moving. So I screen recorded the whole escapade. And while I was screen recording the escapade, I went to explain our lineage. As I explained our lineage, I got to my dad. As I got to my dad, I got to this cousin. And this particular cousin, which is definitely related to the dad side of my family, if that is my dad. Because I ain't claiming him, he ain't claiming him. It's all love, but I ain't claiming you, boy. You ain't claiming me. I hope all your shit is together, because that's on y'all, all right? I already showed you who I am. I already showed you I'm generous. I came out of my pocket to pay for the paternity test. But anyway, so as I'm doing that, I'm like, this cousin, I don't even know how she reached out to me, and something in my spirit told me something's kind of funny, right? And I was talking to another one of relative on that side, right? And they confirmed it. They was like, when I told them who reached out to me, they was like, oh no, be careful of her. She got entitlement issues. They spoiled her as a baby when she was growing up and as a child and even as an adult. She's always getting herself into situations, asking people to fly her here, fly her there, cover her hotel, da 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 da, blah, 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 blah. And she's older than me. So when they broke down how she was, I was like, okay, me and her has had different lives. I don't even know what entitlement is. And because I don't. I don't. I've worked since the age of 14. I don't know what entitlement is. I didn't been through foster care. Like everything I have had to, just by the grace get. I don't even say that I worked hard to get it. I've worked hard, but the working hard has only taught me lessons of life. And yes, wisdom is more valuable than gold, baby. But I like things too. I like things. Don't think I don't like things though. Okay? I just prioritize my spirituality above physical things. So I have walked away from things quite a few times. And especially in my first marriage. In my first marriage, I walked away from shit so many goddamn times. I don't even know how many times, okay? But I know at least 3 times I left households of furniture where it's just my bags and my kids, okay? So I am cut from a different cloth, right? And so I was explaining that, and I am going to share that. So whoever is in the live now, whoever sees this later, you're going to see the first live I did. You're going to see the screen recording because I'm going to publish all of that shit today, all right? So anyway, I was explaining how this is the first time since my divorce, which was in 2011. My divorce was 2011. So it's 2024. This is the first time since 2011 I have had stability in my life. Okay? So you do the math. And I had stability before my marriage because God just graced me like that. And I fucked it up. I fucked it up. You know how I fucked it up? I chose the wrong person to open myself up to, which was my ex-husband. I opened up my home to him. I opened up my space to him. And I went through 6 years of straight hell. I told you during the 6 years, I packed up. I didn't even pack up. I left households. Those households that I left were households that I worked to build. Those were households that I worked to build. But the reason why I don't say I don't work, I have what I have now. I wouldn't say what I have now I didn't work for. Okay, but what I would say, all the work that I've done, you would think that I would have more. Javon, please. What are you doing? Anyway, so while I was going over that, I realized that I almost did that once again. I almost made an unwise choice and decision, but I'm so grateful that I am at the point and place that I am in my life because I'm able to see people's actions align with their words. So I communicate very well. As I played around with this right here, and I decided to open it up, I was like, oh, it's a great idea. I got a good idea. Let's keep people involved. Now, you see, this is unpolished, people. I want to polish this up for you guys. I started watching other and I said, you know what? I feel my audience deserves the time and the effort. So let me put together, let's talk. I've had some people I was talking with. Let's talk about production. Let's talk about planning. Let's talk about these things. Let's talk about this on a regular basis. Let's set meetings to have these discussions, and let's get the show together before the show is being published, right? That was a few weeks ago. And everybody was like, yeah, well, right, we on board with it. I was like, in the meantime, while we're discussing the backside of the show, let's make sure that we are interacting with people. So if you go on here, you'll see that there are reels that are every day. There's a minute reel. It's only 60 seconds. And it can be you live. It could be something else recorded. You can record over it. Like I'm learning this. I don't know this. So if I'm learning this and it don't take that long to play around with it, do a minute reel. We got 24 hours in a day. 60 seconds is not a lot to ask for somebody that wants to be a part of something. If you want to be a part of something, then asking for 60 seconds out of a day, each day is not a lot to ask for. That's what I asked for. And not only that's what I asked for, that's what I gave too. That's what I've been giving. For the last couple of weeks, I've been giving my little 60 seconds reels, doing my 60-second reels, doing my 60-second reels, doing my 60-second reels. The meetings didn't happen. I checked our message field, I got no reply. The reels never came. I said, send the reels here. We had a group thing. Send the reels here. I'll publish the reels. They never came. So what does that tell me? It tells me you're not interested. It tells me that you don't want to put in the energy that is required for this to be successful. It's okay. I don't feel a way about it. But guess what? I've been working on this for years, and I'm not going to stop working on it because it doesn't interest you that much. I'm going to continue to work on this. What came to me that I shared with you that we should all do, if you didn't do it, that's okay. I love you nonetheless, but I'm going to do it. And as I do it, and as God grows this, don't think that you can just come and be like, hey, yeah. No, this requires work. This requires work. I have been working on this, and I am now working on it more diligently. And if it's going to be open, and I have to learn from my past choices to exercise wisdom. Yes, it is open, but it's going to require something from you. And you can do it in the comfort of your own space. A minute a day is not a lot to ask for to engage with people and let people know that you are serious about this, especially me, but especially the world. If this is something you're going to be a part of, show that you are serious about it and do the work. A minute. That's all I ask for, a minute. Let's have these meetings on a regular basis, once a week. Let's do that. I heard okay, yes, and then nothing else. I didn't see no reels for the last 2 weeks come to me to publish. So it's not like, oh, I was sending her these reels and she didn't even publish them. You sent me nothing. You sent me nothing for me to publish. Nothing at all for the last couple of weeks. So yeah, no, we not doing that. We not doing that. 2024, we're not doing that. It's all love. If you don't fit in, you just don't fit in, and it's all good. Come for an interview. Come for something else. This is a production. This is something that's constant. This is something that has been going on. And even though it's new to the YouTube field, it ain't new to podcasting. It ain't new. There are tens and thousands of listens. It's maybe not a big thing over a couple of years because, hey, Cat Williams' interview got millions in a week. But nobody knows who I am yet. People are just getting to know who I am. So it's okay if I don't have a million left. For somebody who people don't know to have tens of thousands over last few, that's to me, that's something. To me, that's potential. To me, if I am doing what the Spirit is leading me to do, it's going to grow organically. And that's the same thing with my cafe. It's going to grow organically. Everything I start, it reaches completion, just not on man's timeline, on God's timeline. So that's how I got here today. I didn't plan to do this podcast. 99.9% of my audio podcasts are not planned out. 99.9. I think I may have planned over the last 3 years, two shows. No, I'm like three over the last few years. They're always Spirit led, always spirit led. That's what, I don't know, I'm gonna say it sets me apart, but that's just my niche. My niche, whatever, however you want to say it, is that's my guiding. That's where I'm coming from. That's why I'm coming from spirit. And spirit can lead me some ways, sometime. Because that's how it led me today. I am an ordained minister and I am going to use profanity. And if that's the issue for you, that's your issue. You can judge me. I am that I am, and I'm going to be who I be.
I got something to say. As far as addresses and stuff like that, you use the P.O. Box?
You know that already. And that's just as simple as it is. So I already created actually a ministry. It's called Reparations for Indigenous People. That has been in existence since 2014. But even though I was led to spirit to create that, I was also led to build the bond, build up my own spirituality. So before I started even ministering, because I just started even letting people know about that last year, and it was at the end of last year. I'm in the middle of a live. What is it? Excuse me.
Can you tell me that zip code?
Javon, you should know that. I'm not going to mention it while I'm doing this. Like, find a piece of mail or something. Like, you have to be able to be resourceful yourself sometimes. I'm literally in the middle of a live. You're asking me for a zip code. That couldn't wait? I don't do that when you're doing your content. I don't jump in the middle of your content and demand your attention because what I feel is doing is more important than what you're doing. That's not fair.
This is just as important.
Javon, it's not. It could have waited till after this live. Okay, back to the live. As I was saying, basically, I don't even know anymore because that just completely threw me off. Oh, that my live, this show, the podcast show. So I was talking about my ministry. So the name of it was it wasn't aggressive, but I realized it was kind of making people feel uncomfortable. I started that 2014. That's when I became ordained as well as a minister. And people did like reparations for indigenous people. I don't even know if people were talking about indigenous people publicly back then at that time. Because, they want to give these titles to the descendants of the tribes that were freaking massacred here in America. They've been giving them titles since they massacred most of the tribe. I don't know what they were calling us back then, but I know some of the names: colored, Afro, Negro, and then this African American thing. Like Africa and America are two continents. How is that a nation? That's not a nation. And reparations is to repair a nation, but how can you repair a nation if the nation ain't together or claiming who they really are? So that's a whole nother realm that I'm not going to go deep into, but that was my premise. My premise was, I know who I am. I'm aware of who I am, and I want people to know who they are. But it went so much deeper. It went deeper to just, I know who I am in this flesh, to now I know who I am in the spirit. I know who I am spiritually. Oh, it's not just about people knowing who they are on the surface. It's about people knowing who they are beyond the surface. Oh, so 9 years of just a personal walk where I studied Christianity, I studied Buddhism, I studied sacred texts. I read the Emerald Tablets. I read the Bhagavad. I have the Bhagavad Gita. I didn't read it. I have it. I have a whole bunch. I have a lot of knowledge, people, to share with you, and a lot I'm still obtaining. And it was last year my spirit was like, you need to tell people who you are. And I was just like, huh? Yeah, you need to tell people that you are ordained minister. You're not just Takara L. Bay. You minister Takara L. Bay. And I was just like, really, God? Right here, right now? Yes, right here, right now. How spirit communicates with me is funny. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So that's how I got to today. That's how I got to today. I was on my Facebook. The Facebook is RFIP. I don't know if I could share it in the comments. Maybe I can. So I'll share it in the description. I ain't got to share it in the comments because I don't want to mess it up. I will share it in the description. So if you want to or you're interested, that's what I was doing though. I was ministering today, right? And after I did that, I ran into my brother performance, and the performance touched me so much. I called him immediately. I gave him some love, and I was like, I need to share some of this love with the world. Let's talk about love. And I started my first podcast. And in the middle of my first podcast here on YouTube today, again, spirit led. See how spirit is guiding me? Spirit's not going to guide us all the same, but spirit is available. You have God inside of you. We all have God inside of us. And when you let that be your guiding point, everything is just going to work itself out lovely, like better than you could ever imagine. Just listen to that guidance, because it will save your life, and it will guide you right exactly where you need to be, who you need to be around, when you need to be around them. And so whatever I'm sharing is not to offend. It is my truth. It is how I feel. It is where I am in my life. I'm going to be transparent. As you see, I don't put on makeup every day. I'm going to come here just how Spirit tells me. Go and share. I'm going to be sharing. And I don't know what's going to come, because I didn't think I was going to talk about my dad or any of that stuff. But it came out because it had to come out, because I had to recognize, oh, me, okay, yeah, I made that choice last time I was stable and disrupted it because I didn't take the time to exercise wisdom. Now we're talking 20-something years later. What, am I going to do the same thing? Am I not going to exercise wisdom? And am I going to give benefits of doubts where I just need to see it is what it is? It's okay. Love you anyway. But it's okay. We did something else, okay? But it's okay. This is sacred right here. It gotta stay like that. And sacred just is not available for everything and everybody. Sacred has parameters, and this has parameters. And even though it may not seem like that because I'm using profanity, you're like, well, how could she be a minister and use profanity? What's her faith? And universal, baby. That's what it is. Because again, God is a force. It's a living, powerful force that's inside of me. It's inside of you. It's inside of every living thing. I cannot possibly dictate to you how to live your life, how to allow that force to guide you, because you have direct contact with that force, just as I have direct contact with that force. So that force is going to direct you personally when you tap in and you meditate and you doing your spiritual practices on a daily basis as a lifestyle, not when there's problems, because ain't no problems right now. Everything good. Everything good, baby. But I do it because I love it. And it has revolutionized my life. Revolutionized my life. It's like it's like GPS. It's like GPS. Now, I know sometimes GPS, you think GPS is just like doing the most because it's sending you a direction. But guess what? It's like Waze. I ain't even say it's like GPS. It's like Waze. You know how Waze lets you know, hey, there's an accident up ahead. Like, go that way. Oh, there's a lot of traffic this way. Go this way. That's how it is. That's how the inner guidance is for me. It's so freaking clear. And it lets me know way before anything is possible to happen. Like, that could happen. Go this way. And so I'm going to listen to my inner guidance all the time. And with that being said, I'm wishing everybody a happy Friday, a happy day, because apparently this young one wants my attention. And he's like, she's giving a lot of attention to the world. I don't want to worry about her. So I don't know what he's doing, but I'm going to give him some, because as you see, he came to get a zip code from me in the middle of my life. His what am I looking for? I want to say sportsmanship, but it's not sportsman. It's like, I don't know what to call it. But entertainers, like, they just know, like, you don't just, there's certain things you do. For example, somebody's on a stage performing. You don't walk across the stage while they're performing. You don't walk in front of the stage unless you're like at the level where you're not blocking a person. You just don't do that. It's just something inside tells you not to do that. They are out there delivering what they are to deliver. You don't come and try to take from that, because if you just there, you're gonna get some. So you don't gotta take it. Like, anyway. Anyway, he's learning. We're learning. I'm learning. And I'm glad that I have the wisdom to not only share, it's an abundance of wisdom, because my cup always overfloweth, not to share. And let me not take away, because I don't want to take away from anything. I appreciate the generosity. I've shared. Apples and oranges are fruits, but they're not the same fruit. So how I am expressing myself does not take away from any love, does not take away from any appreciation. It is just one subject, and it's the subject of spirituality, it's the subject of love. Sometimes love is tough, sometimes it is. It is the subject of also this show, because that's where we are right now. We're here at the Super T Podcast Show. So I'm explaining the transitions that it's going through. Now, the things that I did discuss are things that still need to be done. I just realized that I'm the one that's supposed to do it. And the production team is not the same as the host. And not to have any expectations and just do what I was told to do. And if I share it with others and their spirit don't align with it, even if they say it's okay, but their actions are going to show whether their spirit actually aligns with it, it's okay. Like, let it be, let it go, and that's it. Continue to love, continue to grow. It's really simple. It's not that complicated, people. So I'm going to share the links to the ministry page. It's on Facebook. I'm going to also share some links to my merch. And I don't know when I'll be back. Because the show technically is still under construction. But when Spirit tells me to get the heck out here and communicate and share, and yes, I'm using this still as just, because I just did an audition recently. Yeah, I'm going to do all of that. It's not going to be like anybody else's shit. So it is what it is. Thank you for tuning in, everybody that's tuned in. I'm going to get this published and get on with my Friday.